And welcome to week 20 of Global Studies. This screencast is for the week of January 25th through the 29th. This is AFC Championship football weekend, so I hope that you get a chance to enjoy what I hope to be a Bills victory. Okay, there's lots to do this week. We're starting up our unit number 2, so I'm going to be toggling through a few different screens and trying to show you a little bit about that. Our first unit was historical period number 1. Our second unit is coming up with historical period number 2. So let's take a look. First off, here you are in marking period 2. We're down to week 20, and you'll see that the self-paced materials are here. There's a couple of things this week to take a look at. We'll be starting up this classical civilizations, and more specifically with Greece this week. However, let me first talk a little bit about classical civilizations. This is our second time period. This is going to go from 600 BCE across the year 0 to 600 CE. Okay, so CE refers to Common Era. Before Common Era and then Common Era. Today the year is 2020 Common Era. But we will be taking a look at these 4 different classical civilizations. We will start in ancient Greece, which is purple here on this map, and then we'll hit up Rome, and then thereafter we'll hop back over to India and study about the Guptas and the Mauryans, and then finally we'll end up with the Han Dynasty. This classical civilization period, there's going to be a lot of stuff between the Romans and the Han Dynasty that we will be studying and taking a look at. And all empires, regardless of what we are studying throughout the course of history, they have all gained power, they have all consolidated power, they've been able to maintain it, and ultimately they have lost their power. So this will be a key factor as we look through. So here is historical period 1. Just as a quick review, we've got some things that we talked about earlier in the school year with regard to human development, and just getting started with nomads and hunters and gatherers and so forth. So the Paleolithic period versus the Neolithic period. Of course, during the Neolithic period, that's when the agricultural revolution began. People began to settle down into villages and began to domesticate plants and animals, where they then developed complex institutions around political and social and cultural areas. We specifically spent some time around the river valleys, though we went through it very quickly. The 4 ancient river valleys, of course, are the Nile River, the Tigris and Euphrates, Indus, and the Yellow River. We will be looking and circling ourselves back through these different periods or regions as we go through some things. But as a quick review, those are our river valleys. They end somewhere around the year 600 or so BCE. And in fact, I have a typo here. This should say 600 BCE. So let's take a look at the next slide and how this is going to go. So here are the 4 different river valleys. Our first assignment this week will be about an introduction to classical civilizations, where we will study about the Greeks, the Romans, the early Indian empires, and the Han Dynasty over there in China. Along the way, we will study the basic ideas, and I've tried to list them out here. With the Greeks, for example, there were city-states, the Golden Age achievements of ancient Athens, the glory days. If you talk to a historian who might say, geez, if I could ever travel in time, they might very well pick the 5th century, the 500s BCE, and go to ancient Athens, where people like Socrates, Aristotle, and Plato, and folks like this, the ancient philosophers, first existed. Of course, we'll talk a little bit about Alexander the Great and the development of what is called the Hellenistic period. Hellen refers to what the Greeks called their own land. So it's the Greek culture that is going to be spread throughout, obviously Greece, but then over to the Persian Empire, which is going to be over towards India by the Indus River, and down to Egypt. So that is the Hellenistic culture. Later on, we'll talk about the Romans as they went from a republic to an empire. So this is the days of not having a king to ultimately having a dictator like Julius Caesar. The rise of Christianity, the different achievements of the Romans, including Roman law and government, but architecture as well, and massive building structures. And then eventually we will have the fall of Rome. We'll push over towards India, where we'll study the Mauryan Empire. We'll take a look at Ashoka, the famous ruler who suddenly became Buddhist. He wanted to begin a nonviolent life after a terrible battle at Kalinga, where 100,000 people died. and at his commands, he just completely flip-flopped. And we'll see how Buddhism will go from India throughout the rest of Asia and so forth. A little bit later on, we'll take a look at the Guptas, and ultimately they are responsible for the mathematical formula of zero. So you need to know zero about the Guptas. Haha, social studies joke. So next, the Han Dynasty in China. This is where we'll end up our classical civilizations. We'll talk about the unification of China. Of course, we've studied a little bit with Confucianism and Men into Heaven, but we'll see how this all develops into Shi Hongdi, the first emperor of China. He's famous for the underground tomb, the terracotta soldiers. We'll take a look at that. The clay figurine soldiers, life size. But ultimately, we'll see how the Han Dynasty will have lots of reflections in parallel the Romans. So, large dynasty, large population. We talk about these as empires as well when they begin to govern over a massive area of land, people speaking different languages and having different belief systems. This week, though, we will study specifically the Greeks. So first, in class, you'll be taking a look at the geographic isolation, including the mountains and the rivers. Now, you'll note that in Greece and the other classical civilizations, they don't necessarily centralize themselves along a river. So they're figuring out how to govern and develop and maintain society when not near a river. We will be talking about the famous city-states. Of course, Athens and Sparta are the two famous, but there are hundreds and hundreds of different Greek city-states, including Olympia. This year we're talking about the modern-day Olympics being pushed over. It's still being noted as the 2020 Olympics, but of course the pandemic has pushed that over to 2021 in Tokyo. But that's a lasting effect from some of the Greeks, along with many other things that are long-lasting effects of the ancient Greeks. They are the founders of Western civilization, and we will see how their architecture is going to play a major role with just columns, balance, harmony, symmetry. Along the arts, we're going to talk about comedies and tragedies, lots of different plays and tellings of stories and different things. Mythology, of course, is going to come from the ancient Greeks as well. But we'll talk about philosophers like Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, their role in thinking about people and how we live and how we come and do different things. Mathematics, Euclid and Pythagoras are some of the founders around math. And in government, of course, they're famous for democracy. The statesman Pericles is going to defend democracy, and he's going to talk about how people should be participating in government. But the Greeks also tried lots of different kinds of government systems, eventually landing in Athens around democracy. And of course, the United States would pick that up many years later and continue its incredible idea. We'll finish off Greece with Alexander the Great, where again he will conquer lots of different land, and the culture, Hellenistic culture, will go with it. So along those lines, let's take a peek over at our week. So I'm first going to click into our classical civilizations introduction. There's a lot of stuff here. I know Mr. Aquilino would be proud of us here in ninth grade working on some AP US history stuff. AP US history, AP World History, with the themes and concepts from the College Board curriculum. So these ideas are what we're going to be going through. I'm not going to read them to you, but they are there for you to refer back to and to kind of go over. So as we look at our first activity, this is really kind of simple, but it is going to go through the basic ideas around civilization. We've already mentioned a little bit about how each one of these are going to gain, consolidate, maintain, and lose power. But your job is to be able to go through a couple of different things and what is it that you think or know about each of these four different areas. And then this is just a big conceptual idea. I tried to make some colors here so that we can take a closer look through the lens of AP themes on how and what this means. So the question here is, do the benefits of innovation outweigh the costs? Okay, so first of all, innovation. Anything dealing with technology, anything with dealing with improvements, anything dealing with not just your smartphones, but any kind of new idea. So sometimes it's like really great. A smartphone is awesome. However, we all of a sudden are developing way more screen time, and maybe our vision is getting bad and our eyesight is getting bad, or maybe we're being more forgetful in remembering phone numbers and things that maybe a generation before you used to know phone numbers and things like that because they had to remember them. So it's interesting how things might change. But what I'd like for you to do in this activity, and notice I've tried to color code these with our themes. So this is theme number 6 about innovations. So your job is to go and take a look at some different innovations that we've learned about maybe in previous units. And here's the idea around a smartphone. And then the second activity is around power. So I highlighted that in blue. Identify a person or character that you know with power and describe the power that they have. Lastly, we'll take a look at a cultural idea. So if that's theme number 2, I highlighted it in red. And now we're trying to look at some examples of ideas and beliefs. Then identify a strong belief that you or someone you know has. So fill that in. And now let's take a look at a couple of different things about actually innovation and whether or not it really outweighs the cost. So identify one innovation from the introduction activity. So anything that you want up in here, you can grab that, drop it in. So what makes it such a great thing, but then what makes it a drawback? What makes it something that might be negative? Later, we'll look at power. And here's a stick figure graphic that was created by New Visions about gaining, consolidating, maintaining, and losing power. So answering these 4 questions in the space below, please. And then finally, about beliefs. So identify 3 beliefs that you or someone you know has. This could be a religious belief, it could be a political belief, it could be just some sort of ideology that you think might be here. And to the right-hand side, the question is really, identify one way each of the 3 beliefs you named has affected the actions of the person with that belief. So if I said I believe in a particular religious thing, maybe I'll give you an example that will be coming up shortly for Catholics and Christians. Maybe giving up meat during the Lent season. So people might eat fish on Fridays. So what's some sort of action or belief that has? So if I believe in that, it means I'm depriving myself some sort of tasty food that I would normally like to have. And by doing that, I'm reminding myself about the sacrifices of my religion. So I'm going to give something up so that I could remind myself of, why I'm doing that and maybe the sacrifices that were made for me. So, quick activity about beliefs. The second one is about power, and the first one is about innovations. That's your first activity this week. Second activity, if I go back into our self-paced folder, is going to be the rise of Greece. This is there's actually 2 packets, and you'll see the last one is actually a graphic organizer, but the rise of Greece and then the Golden Age. The rise of Greece is going to show us really about the city-states. I think I just clicked the wrong button. The city-states and specifically Athens and Sparta. So we'll be talking about this partly in class. The geographic features, this first activity is dealing with the mountains and the islands and how that creates a natural isolation, kind of similar to the geographic isolation in China, although that wasn't mountains and islands necessarily, it was just mountains and deserts. But how is that going to affect the history? So here we go. This is just a 1-page little intro of Athens versus Sparta, a little bit for you to read about primary and secondary sources. Here's a video. All right, so when you watch this video about the daily life on how Athens is going to be this way and Sparta is going to be that way, I'll give you a hint that Athens is very much in favor of the arts and education, and Sparta is very much in favor of the military. As we go down, we're going to see some other resources that are provided to you regarding Athens and Sparta, and yet a few more, this one dealing specifically with the role of women. So you can answer some of these questions. Here are some sample questions from, this is actually from the Regents New York State type questions, fairly straightforward. But if you could answer these 8 questions, that means you've understood fairly well in these primary sources. Next, your job is to contextualize ancient Greece by completing the task. First, describe the location. So we're definitely looking for something along the lines of being in the Mediterranean, being surrounded by mountains, having many islands. And here are the 2 geographic features, okay? Last, describe how those features affected the development of ancient Greece. The basic idea here is that because of all those mountains, because of all those islands, there were little pocket governments that were created that we call those city-states. Different city-states had different values and cultures that they had. We've obviously looked at Athens and Sparta, so it would be expected that you would respond somewhere with that. The second activity that's located here is about the Golden Age of Athens. Now, this is a little bit of a gallery walk. There's so much to know about ancient Greece and specifically Athens and all their different contributions. So here we're going to look at a variety of things throughout the week, dealing with, in this case, architecture. This building here, while it's located in Washington, D.C., is really a copycat of the Parthenon, which is located in ancient Greece, probably the single most symbolic building of the ancient world. And of course, that was dedicated to the goddess Athena. This building here, while similar in style, is dedicated to Abraham Lincoln. So there's a notice, think, wonder, a see, think, wonder activity here for you to work on with that. This is going to ask us now the Golden Age, the age of Pericles. Pericles is a statesman. He's a person who defended democracy. This is going to ask you to watch about 3.5 minutes from the 15-minute mark to 18:20. Click on that. I believe that's I don't think that's a YouTube video, so hopefully the link comes up. If not, please email your teacher and we'll make sure that that works. I did just check it though. A couple of questions here to answer about the Golden Age. Next here is the gallery walk, the museum walk. We did provide the graphic organizer, but this is a link to it. There are four different graphic civilizations. For whatever reason, the Guptas come first, the Hans come second. Here's Greece. This is the only one you'll be able to fill in through today's week. So as you're going through these different documents that are provided, we'd ask that you complete bullet points for each of these four categories. So as I scroll down, you'll see here's Exhibit A. And this is about Pericles, again, the statesman from Athens defending democracy. He made a famous speech called a funeral oration of soldiers and talking about what they went through to defend democracy. Exhibit B is about architecture, and here's the Parthenon here. Again, another little video here. You can click on that. It should come up fine. Going down to Exhibit C, we've got different artwork around the sculptures of the ancient Greeks, very realistic. Exhibit D is about poetry. We'll find out about comedies and tragedies with the Greeks. Down to Exhibit E, the philosophy. We have Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, famous philosophers of the time, and some bullet points about each of them. Next, we've got Exhibit F and Exhibit G. Oh, there's three more. Exhibit H rather, about medicine. Hippocrates, the Hippocratic Oath. And that should take us down to two last questions. So the Golden Age, you could see, well-rounded. Everything in those exhibits went from architecture to philosophy to art, math, medicine, very well-rounded. We would call that definitely a Golden Age because of it being so well-rounded. But here it's asking you to identify and describe. You could do that in the space here. And then lastly, we're asking that you are able to explain the impact of the Golden Age and then on other regions. So identify two innovations that developed during the Golden Age, and then the effects that those innovations had on Greece and then other regions around the world. Easily, ancient Greece affected the United States. Though it was thousands of years later, the United States definitely copied many of the ideas from the ancient Greeks, including democracy and architecture. You can look around Washington and see that it almost looks like Greece. I know that this is a little bit longer of a video, but hopefully you'll get the idea that this is definitely a lot of material this week as we go through the beginning of our classical civilizations, historical period number 2, as we begin to look at 600 to 600. So good luck. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask your teachers.